From the 16th through 19th centuries in Persia, royal harems in Isfahan and Tehran operated as guarded worlds around the Shah. A woman suspected of plotting could hear eunuch guards enter, lose her protection overnight, and disappear into confinement or death. So what actually happened when women broke the Shah's rules? The answer depended brutally on rank. A favored wife might survive an insult, an argument, even open criticism. A low-status concubine or enslaved woman had far less protection. Women could be demoted, divorced, expelled, sold, or cut off from the privileges that made palace life bearable. And if a woman became involved in a political struggle around the throne, the danger could become lethal. The first thing to understand is that the Persian harem wasn't just a bedroom full of beautiful women waiting for one man. That image is lazy nonsense. It was an enormous private household: wives, concubines, daughters, female servants, children, eunuchs, cooks, attendants, and women connected to powerful families. Under some Qajar Shahs, the royal household reached into the thousands, and it had a hierarchy, a very serious one. At the top could be the Shah's mother, senior wives, favored companions, and women with powerful sons. Lower down were temporary wives, concubines, servants, and enslaved women. Your room, servants, money, access to the Shah, and future could depend on where you stood. Lose favor, and that whole little universe could collapse. Under Fath-Ali Shah in the early 19th century, women in the royal harem could be divorced, expelled, sold, or pushed down in marital status. Some marriages were political alliances, some women were captives from defeated dynasties or campaigns. So, imagine being brought into a palace against your will, then discovering that even your position inside captivity could be taken away. That is one of the ugliest parts of this story. For some women, breaking the rules didn't mean violating a neat written rulebook. It meant displeasing the Shah, losing a factional fight, threatening somebody's influence, or becoming inconvenient to the people above you, and the doors really mattered. In the 19th century harem of Nasr al-Din Shah, women were not free to simply walk out alone. The inner quarters were connected to the outside through eunuchs and approved visitors. Women traveled with the court, attended ceremonies, went to summer residences, and had contact with relatives. But this was controlled movement, not modern freedom. Picture it. You want to leave. There's a gate. There are attendants. There are people whose entire job is to control access between the inner household and the outside palace. You don't just throw on a coat and disappear into Tehran. Heh. Good luck with that. But here's where the system gets more complicated, because some women inside the harem became extremely powerful. Take al-Dawla, the favorite wife of Nasr al-Din Shah. She entered the harem as a maid and rose until she became one of the most influential women in the royal household. She could speak openly to the Shah. She criticized him publicly. She even helped bring down a prime minister, and she survived. Why? Favor. That's the hypocrisy right there. The same palace that restricted women's movement could give one favored woman enough influence to affect national politics. Rules were real, but power decided how dangerous breaking them became. A servant who offended the wrong person might have almost nothing to protect her. A favorite could push back against the ruler himself. Ah yes, very fair. And now it gets darker. Go back to Safavid Persia in the 16th century. Royal women weren't always passive figures behind curtains. Some became major political players. One of the most powerful was Qajar al-Nisa Begum, better known as Mahd-e Olya, wife of Shah Muhammad Qodabanda. Her husband was weak, and she moved aggressively into government. She backed officials from her own region, tried to centralize power, and made enemies among the Qizilbash military elite. This wasn't a woman sneaking out at night. This was something much more dangerous. A woman inside the royal household challenging armed men who believed they should control the state. In 1579, those enemies moved against her. The Qizilbash conspirators obtained the Shah's approval. Then Mahd-e Olya was assassinated. Think about how cold that is. You are the Shah's wife. You are one of the most powerful people in Persia. You live at the center of the royal household, and the man whose throne you helped support allows your enemies to kill you. God, imagine the moment she realized royal status wasn't going to save her. Her death exposes the real rule underneath all the other rules. Palace protection lasted only as long as the political balance protecting you. And women weren't the only people trapped by that logic. Safavid Shahs could blind or kill male relatives they feared as rivals. Shah Abbas I ordered the killing of his eldest son and had 2 other sons blinded because he suspected plots against him. His successor Shah Safi became notorious for killing or blinding relatives he considered dangerous. So inside this palace culture, suspicion itself could become deadly. Now add slavery. Safavid campaigns in the Caucasus brought huge numbers of captives into Persia. Women and children from Georgia were among those taken into the harems of the Shah and elite households. Later, Qajar harems also included captives and enslaved concubines. For those women, the power imbalance was even more extreme. They hadn't entered as equal partners negotiating palace etiquette. Some had been taken from defeated populations and placed into households controlled by strangers. That is not romance. That is domination. And yet, bizarrely, a woman brought in with almost no power could sometimes rise. Georgian and Circassian women became mothers of princes and influential figures at the Safavid court. Low-born women in the Qajar period could become royal favorites. The system could elevate someone astonishingly high, then drop her just as fast. That uncertainty is what made the harem so dangerous. There was no single punishment machine where every offense produced the same sentence. It was worse in another way. Punishment depended on who you were, who hated you, who protected you, and whether the Shah still wanted you around. A woman could lose her marital rank, be divorced, be expelled, in some cases be sold. If politics entered the room, she could be destroyed by a faction before anyone bothered pretending the process was fair. And the palace could hide the violence. There didn't need to be a public scaffold with a crowd watching. A royal household had closed doors, private guards, eunuchs, servants, rival factions, and a ruler whose personal decisions could change lives instantly. Senior eunuchs literally guarded the Safavid harem and handled some of the Shah's most private affairs. That's seriously fucked up, because it means the most frightening moment might not be a judge announcing a sentence. It might be silence, footsteps outside the room, a message that the Shah will no longer see you, servants suddenly avoiding your eyes, a door that used to open for you staying shut. For Mahd-e Olya, even being queen did not stop the men around the throne from turning on her. In 1579, the woman who had pushed herself into the center of Safavid power was killed after her enemies secured her husband's approval. No dramatic escape, no last-minute rescue. Just a palace full of people who understood that the balance had shifted. And somewhere behind those guarded doors, another woman learned the real rule of the Persian harem. Your safety lasted only as long as someone powerful still wanted you protected.